I've always classified myself as someone who does things differently. I'll eat cereal as my last meal of the day and not the first. I'll suck a homie stick when it's not Pride Month. I'll blow dry my boy's hair and platonically rub his back before we go out. And I'll enjoy games that others don't seem to enjoy, like Watch Dogs. And I mean actually enjoy, not this YouTube enjoy where people will play a game with a previously bad rep and tell you why it's the best game you never played. So, Watch Dogs 1. I wake up in the same clothes I've been wearing for the last few years because depression. For those unfamiliar with Watch Dogs, Aiden Pierce is a hacker man who is sworn to protect Chicago from pesky criminals like shoplifters and weed dealers, because they're the real reason that the American dream has died. I hear commotion in the next room, and so being a vigilante, it's my job to get involved in other people's business when they didn't ask. I notice a man suspiciously making a break for it, so I use my incredible situational awareness skills to conclude that he is indeed a criminal. I haven't played this game in a minute and can't remember what the sprint button is, so rather than chasing down the criminal, I instead accidentally turn on Aiden's Walkman and briskly jog across the pavement. When I do eventually figure it out though, it's curtains for my boy, because Aiden has stamina like Lance Armstrong. He also has both his testicles and doesn't juice, so he's a superior man in nearly every way. When this game was released, a lot of people complained about Aiden being a deadpan psychopath protagonist, but I think that's completely wrong. Just look at how I take down this domestic abuser with a swift tackle and quick KO. He handled that situation tremendously with minimal violence and only unloaded 30 silenced pistol rounds into his head after he was knocked out, so he wouldn't fear for his life. Ask yourselves, would a psychopath do that? Nathan Drake splatters the brains of hundreds of people just to find some treasure, but because he has witty one-liners, he's all of a sudden the perfect male role model. We exerted quite a lot of energy chasing down that dude, so I refuel by shelving a caffeinated drink, and now I'm ready to get back to saving Chicago. My boy Geordie has a job for me where I have to use my driving skills to help someone recently committing a crime escape the police. It's basically like Uber, except your driver is an Indian and the passenger has committed a crime. Because I'm skilled at driving and don't require a team of 50 people to tell me what to do, like F1 drivers, we escape the police fairly quickly. I deliver old matey in the passenger seat to meet this dude Lucky Quinn, who's the head of Chicago's gang known as The Club. He's supposed to be intimidating, but honestly at his age, he probably needs 8 pills a day to keep his heart functioning, and judging by that walking stick, he also needs a hip replacement. Anyway, he pretty rudely kills old matey that we just delivered, so I guess I won't be getting that 5-star rating, which is really upsetting as I tried my best. The murder is none of my business though, so I grab a mocha as we're in for a long night. I then get some cash out of an ATM, presumably to buy drugs. I mean, what else do you get cash out for these days? When I get back in my car, this Karen behind me hasn't given me enough space to safely reverse out. I calmly handle the situation by ramming my car into her front bumpers multiple times, each one with more aggression. I then get out of my vehicle and unload an entire drum of a Tommy gun into her car and face. Someone then attempts to call the police, but snitches get stitches, or you know, fatal gunshot wounds to the torso. An ambulance then arrives on the scene in under 30 seconds because all of the victims are white, but proceed to drive right past. I guess they must have clocked out right as they arrived on the scene, so good for them for not overworking themselves and being a slave to the system. Your mental and physical health is more important. Next up, I was meeting a contact of mine who goes by the name Bad Boy 17. I've got to commend someone who goes by an alias that sounds like a randomly generated Xbox gamer tag and almost guarantees you'll keep your virginity for life. Aiden doesn't take a very tactical approach, he just kind of walks around in the subway asking people if they're bad boy.
Bad boy. What?
He's just walking up to strangers saying, bad boy.
What the fuck, man?
Ubisoft, however, flips the script, and Bad Boy is actually a female character. Wow, Ubisoft, such an inclusive company that really values women. Her name is Clara, and I'm a little worried she's going to get attached to me as a father figure because it's clear she didn't have one growing up. Anyway, she wants me to do a job where I infiltrate her security building and upload a virus to the boss's computer. Obviously, discretion is crucial here because I need to keep my identity as a hacker on the low. So I go in with a fire truck, running over anyone standing within 10 feet of the garage door, and then whip out old reliable Tommy gun to finish off the rest of the room. I sort of see red after this and just go on a rampage, taking out every security guard who probably didn't even enjoy their jobs that much and were just trying to put food on the table for their families. So I upload the virus to this guy's computer, and it turns out he's actually got a history of animal cruelty. Wow, I may have just murdered like 20 innocent security guards, but this dude is the real public enemy of Chicago. I dip out of the building, and in a moment more cinematic than anything in the last 6 Fast and Furious movies, I make it onto a train just as the doors close to escape the police. I don't know if the entire police force has some kind of fear of trains, but yeah, apparently if you get on the L train, that's it, they just stop the pursuit. Alright, so it's the next morning, and on my walk I spot a woman jogging at one of the slowest jogging paces I've ever seen. She then stops and coughs up a lung, so it's pretty clear she's not in the best health. Unfortunately, she's living in the great country of America, so going to see the doctors and determine whether or not she is terminally ill will cost her thousands and thousands of dollars. This is when I invoke a random act of kindness, blowing her spine and legs out with an IED, injuring her so bad that she will be forced to go to the ER, therefore getting a health check and discovering what is causing that cough. I may have just saved her life. Apparently today I just felt like doing good deeds. After helping that woman, I then have to stop this man from being oppressive. As you can see, he is pulling a standing man spread right in front of a woman while engaging in conversation she clearly doesn't want to have. I solve this by separating the two. I then discharge my silenced firearm right between his eyes to make sure the women of Chicago are safe, one man spreader at a time. Okay, so I hop into a new whip, but accidentally honk the horn because the seat was all the way forward, causing this person to fling their cat carrier in the air. I don't want a cat falling in the Chicago River to be on my conscience, so I pull my car up next to the river to ensure the cat's safety, but at the same time accidentally make this dude panic and fall into the river himself. Some snitch thinks I'm doing this on purpose and attempts to call the police, so now I also have to run them over and stop them from severely misunderstanding the situation. I try to save the dude who fell in the river by reversing my car into the river, but it would appear he didn't bring his armbands as he's nowhere to be seen. Not exactly the red hot start to the day I was hoping for, but I attempt to distract myself from that stressful 2 minutes by having a chat with this woman who was just fishing on the pier. I unfortunately also knock her into the river, and thinking she will swim back up to the surface and we can grab a coffee and laugh about this moment together later, I wait for her at the top, but she doesn't appear to be able to swim either. Some will say those two deaths are on me, but I will say it's their own fault for not practicing basic water safety. If you cannot swim, don't stand near a river. It's quite simple. We get back to usual Aiden Pierce banter. As mentioned earlier, he is also a very skilled driver, so I absolutely send it off this roof, hoping to earn some cool stunt jump status, but no, I instead land on a family of 4 who were just trying to enjoy a nice meal at the restaurant. It's safe to say we've not had the best day, so let's check out the nightlife in Chicago. I pop into a local bar and down 6 bottles of beer, but my man Aiden is an absolute champ and it literally doesn't affect him. I unfortunately can't relate in real life because when you're 6'3" and weigh 140 pounds, I get dizzy after about 2 drinks. I then end up waking up in some random dude's apartment with an overwhelming feeling of shame. Anyway, I quickly slip out of that bar because it was deader than my ex's cat who I may have accidentally booted thinking it was the Grudge trying to touch my feet in the middle of the night. I decided to pop over next door to get some clothes because these threads have probably still got Aiden's niece's blood on them, and if there's one thing that repels women, it's dead children. I however buy the wrong clothes when I accidentally threaten the shop owner and he doesn't allow me to buy anything else. Jeez, it was just a misunderstanding where I pulled my pistol on you. It's not like I'm an emotionally unstable wreck who kills innocent people. This guy on the street then asked me if I fancy playing a little game where I have to guess where the ball is. He's a really endearing dude, so I partake and put a little money on the line as he's just trying to make a living out here. I get the answer correct the first 2 times, but on my 3rd try I unfortunately get it wrong, losing that money that I just willingly put on the line. I handle losing money like Aiden handles alcohol and proceed to unload my entire pistol clip into this dude's body. I then ensure he's dead by following up with a few bursts of this revolver. This is actually real personal growth for Aiden. I was tempted to whip out the Tommy gun, but no, I went with the less violent option. Feeling like these new clothes aren't really doing anything for my sex appeal, I hop into a local clothes shop and select the classy 1920s gangster look. Not only do I look like I've watched The Godfather too many times, which is an attractive quality in itself, I also now rep this tasteful fedora, which should have the ladies lining up outside my motel room. Feeling fresh, I go to the cemetery to press F to pay respects to Aiden's dead niece. While there, I continue my trend of doing good deeds as I spot this person clearly grieving a death of someone that was close, so I shoot her in the head and now she's no longer grieving or sad. After doing some grieving of my own, it was time to go from Aiden's dead niece to killing someone else's niece. How poetic. You see, someone saw Aiden doing a virtual heist a while back and is going to snitch on him. We trace him by first finding his niece and listening in on her calls. The game doesn't actually make you kill her niece or doesn't even advise you to, but you know, it's kind of funny. On my way to confront this snitch, I make sure to pull a wheelie the entire bike ride so he really knows what kind of an alpha male he is messing with. I then dip off the bike, shoot him in the head, and escape while still pulling a wheelie to deter his boys from following me. The life of crime knows no bounds, and you never know when flexing your big wheelies will come in handy. Unfortunately, old matey that we just killed wasn't the only snitch. There's another one at large. Well, he's not really at large because he's in a prison, but yeah, whatever the equivalent of at large while being confined and having a daily schedule is, I guess. What will Aiden do to this man that's in the prison, you ask? Arrange a gang hit on the snitch inside the prison? Hack the prison itself? No. This man gets himself incarcerated just to stop a snitch from snitching. Aiden is what peak male physical form looks like, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once inside the prison, things escalate quicker than going for a camping trip with my uncle. First of all, we have to find the snitch by accessing the prison cameras. There he is, we found him, just chilling in the yard catching some sun, getting those vitamin D levels up. Good on him. His name is Raoul, but he's got face tattoos, so he probably also goes by Lil Raoul. Some prisoner officers take him away, so I follow them to the basement, where they're physically assaulting the poor man. We can't be having domestic abuse in the prison system, so I grab a shotty and go to work. Somehow no other guards hear a full-on gunfight in the basement. I mean, it sounds like an elementary school down here. Anyway, after murdering most of the prison workforce, we find Lil Raoul and show him using a simple page inspect that we can change his prison sentence from a few months to 40 years. I think it's safe to say he won't be snitching anytime soon. We put the fedora back on and leave the prison unscathed. If you guys would like to see more Watch Dogs, let me know. I do genuinely love this game and would like to make more content on it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that jazzy stuff. And a big thank you as always to those of you who've clicked the join button and become a member of the channel. It really does mean a lot. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. A big thank you to my motherload Voiy Bois and above, Björn van den Hatter, ZYFin, TheGamerTeg, and AWO Theed Smith Loadmaster. Thank you guys for your support.